half on ESPN Bet. U.S. men's water polo beaten in the semifinals today by two-time reigning Olympic champ Serbia, 10-6. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says there's no sense of urgency for him to get a contract extension finalized with wideout CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys play the Rams in their preseason opener Sunday, but Lamb is not in training camp. He's under contract this season for $18 million. Baseball Thursday night, the Mariners beat the Tigers 4-3 on a walk-off 3-run double by Mitch Haniger. The Phillies beat the Diamondbacks 6-4. Trey Turner drives in 2 runs.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Now, funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown and abuse you?
You're tired.
Well, the lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. If you're listening to another station I don't understand, but nobody does it like Tom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the Junkyard Dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Tom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Football Friday in the Doghouse. I am your host, Tom Abraham. Today we are coming to you live from steamy Southwest Florida. In fact, just over the bridge from where Paulie in the Cape is. Yeah, exactly. We are down here this weekend. The Junkyard Babe and I are down here this weekend to help my daughter and her fiance move into their new home on Whiskey Creek, which is directly off the Caloosahatchee River. JYB's been out on the patio of the pool painting furniture and getting ready to do that. I've been spending the morning getting ready to do this Sports Talk radio show, and then we are going to be putting on the oldies, sweating with the oldies. Has got me ready to help with the heavy stuff, the couches and things like that. So I'm not exactly sure what is to be expected from me. He knows that I prefer not to have a heart attack. All right, so that's there. But it's not like I'm an invalid. I mean, certainly I do a lot of heavy lifting and things like that around, my own property. And I do work in the heat and things like that. So it's not like I'm a total invalid. Okay, I can do some stuff. It would be better off if I was back in the studio and Captain Cool was here to do this. That probably would be more useful, but that's just not the way it is. Now, we are going to serenade you throughout the show today with football music, as we always do on a Football Friday. So we'll have that for you. And also coming up today, it's also week 3 of our 2024 future fecta. And this will be part of the grand trifecta. Now, this is unique to this upcoming season of football because we now have a 12-team playoff. So instead of doing like the over and unders on your win totals, this year what we are doing is we are asking you to predict the playoff. Now, 2 weeks ago, we said SEC teams that'll be in the playoff. Most of you picked 4, some picked 3. Last week, we did the Big Ten. Some of you said 4, some of you said 3. I think somebody gave us just 2 teams out of the Big Ten to get into the playoff. Now, this week, we are asking you to round out the playoff. And again, you're making each week stands alone. So it's not like you have to get all 12 right if you already made picks the first 2 weeks. But what we're asking you this week is to give us the non-Big Ten, non-SEC. We'll call it the non-Big 2 or the non-Power 2 teams or conferences. Give me the teams not from the Big Ten or the SEC that are going to make the playoff. Now, you have to have at least 3, right? I mean, just think about it because, the ACC champ is going to make it. The Big 12 champ is going to make it. And the highest ranked Group of 5 conference champ is going to make it. So you have to have at least 3. Now, you might think 5 are going to make it. You may think 2 from the 12 and 2 from the ACC and 1 from the Group of 5 will make it. I don't know. There is 0 Group of 5 teams in the preseason top 25. Most people think that Memphis is going to be the highest ranked team from the Group of 5 to get in. That's what most people are thinking. And I don't understand why Joe Ant is calling me. You would think that he would know that I'm on the air. I mean, I assume that I'm on the air. You think that he would know that I'm on the air, being that he's up there at ESPN Winchester, and that he would know that I'm on the air. But, he wants to throw that call in there anyway. So now there's only one way to get into this whole thing. All right. Well, there's 2 ways to get in. One, you can get in through the text window, which is always valuable. Texting the show at 7329 TA show. 732-982. Or check that. 732-982-7469. Text window works. Also, of course, you can call the show. 256-576-4977. All right, those are the only ways to get in. Now, look, if you didn't get a chance, like you were just listening this week or you were in vacation or on the moon or something like that, and you didn't get a chance to get in on the SEC and the Big Ten, you can still do that. You can give me your SEC teams, your Big Ten teams, and your non-SEC Big Ten teams that are going to make the playoff. You can do that. But just do all those other teams at the text window. All right? Just use the phone call to give me your teams not from the Big Ten and not from the SEC that are going to get in. All right? So, like I said, it might be 3 teams. You might have 6 teams. Your minimum is 3. You got to at least have the ACC champ, the Big 12 champ, and the Group of 5, the highest-ranked Group of 5 team. All right? Now, my X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. Don't leave them there. I'll never get to them. You can find the show on YouTube at WZZN TV. The Zone is on X at 97.7 ESPN. And remember, all right, the app. You're going to want to get the Zone app. The Zone app has multiple channels for High School Streaming Network plus UAH and Havoc. Talk Radio WZZN has the Trash Pandas. It also has Huntsville Panther football coming up in a couple of weeks. And then when the Trash Panda season ends, Huntsville High football will be found at 97.7-2 on Talk Radio WZZN. And those of you that are listening in Franklin County, you'll have your own app as well soon. And you'll have Franklin County football and Huntland football on ESPN 1340, 106.9. Okay, so that covers it all. Now, a team that many think will make it, don't forget about Notre Dame. Don't forget about Notre Dame. If you think that 4 from the SEC and 4 from the Big Ten are getting in, then there's only 4 spots left. The Group of 5 highest ranked champ, okay, And then there's Notre Dame. That would be your last 4. Okay. If you think that less than 4 are going to get in from either the Big Ten or the SEC, then you got to have more teams, right, to make up the 12-team field. But a lot of people feel like Notre Dame will make it this year. Now, they cannot be a bye. They can host, but they can't be a 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed. They can't do that. They can be, at best, the 5 seed, okay, which means that they would host in the first round of the playoffs. But because they're not in a conference, they can't be a conference champion. So the good news for Notre Dame is they get to keep all that money, and they would host a game in the first round of the playoffs. The bad news for them is they'll never get a bye under this system, okay? When we go to 14 or 16 teams, then we'll see how many byes there are. At 16, there'll be no byes. At 14, there'll be 2 byes. They won't get those byes either, all right, unless they get in a conference. And Notre Dame, I can tell you right now, for those of you that are thinking, well, Notre Dame and somebody else will make 20 in the Big Ten, ain't happening. Notre Dame's going to join the ACC and save the ACC. Not going to happen. They got a scheduling agreement with the ACC where they play 5 ACC games a year. They are a member of the ACC for all other sports. They are not a football member of the ACC, even though they play those 5 ACC games every year. Notre Dame has zero interest in joining a conference. It's not happening. I'm going to tell you that right now. What could happen what did just happen for Notre Dame is they signed another long-term deal with NBC. They got their own TV deal. Notre Dame is a conference in and of itself. They don't deserve that anymore. I've got my own personal issues with Notre Dame ever since Lou Holtz has been gone there. But a lot of people think that Notre Dame will be a playoff team this year. Now, to that end, they opened the season with Texas A&M. And there's a tremendous new book out on the life and times of Era Precision, written by Mark Hubbard and published by the Notre Dame Press. Now, for me, personally, born in 1960 and becoming aware of college football sometime at the end of the 60s, all right, 8, 9, 10 years old, I'm very aware of college football. My dad was a big Notre Dame fan. He played for the Little Irish of Aquinas High School. And a lot of Aquinas kids, and it was a prep school then. It's just a regular high school, but then it was a prep school, and they played all over the country back in the late 50s. Those kids would go, a lot of those kids ended up at Notre Dame, including the famous Don Hollander, all right, and which the Aquinas Stadium was named after, Hollander Stadium. So my dad naturally was a Notre Dame guy. And by the time the early 70s rolls around, okay, now I'm 12, 13 years old, and Notre Dame is playing Alabama in the Sugar Bowl and in the Orange Bowl. They beat them in the Orange Bowl. Then they turn around and beat them in the Sugar Bowl. Both times they beat them by 1 or 2 points. I think it was 24-23 in one game and 13-12 or something like that in the other game. I may be just making that up, but it's in my head that way. So by then, 73 and 74, I'm in my rebellious stage, my 12, 13 years old rebellious stage. And I'm fascinated by the guy in the funny hat named after a bear. So for years, with Bama and Notre Dame playing basically in different worlds. I mean, you didn't have to worry about it. They really didn't play each other very much. And, they did play some in the 80s, but they were in completely different worlds. I was able to love both Notre Dame and Alabama. I loved Alabama in the SEC, and I loved Notre Dame football all through those years, all the way through Tim Brown and all the way through Lou Holtz. They won their last national championship in 1988. I don't think they're ever going to win another national championship. I think Notre Dame's eventually goes the way of the Ivy League. As long as they got great academic standards, they stay to that, they get all of that. I just never think that Notre Dame, now seeing Michigan win a national championship made me think maybe someday Notre Dame could be a national champion again. But for the most part, I don't feel like it'll happen. And I also hate the fact that they put synthetic turf in Notre Dame Stadium. If there's a stadium in the country that deserves to it would be like putting synthetic turf in Lambeau Field. And I know Lambeau has that combination stuff and they have some of that synthetic stuff mixed in with the grass, but it's grass. It's Lambeau Field. All right. That's why I hate the thought of the Chicago Bears moving into a new stadium with synthetic turf. The Chicago Bears belong playing on grass and dirt. The Cleveland Browns. I hope the Buffalo Bills go back to grass at some particular point. I don't know if they ever will or not. But anyway, I digress. Mark Hubbard wrote this book. He's coming up a little bit later on at the top of the one. At the bottom of this hour, Steve Merrill from WagerTalkTV is back, and he can help you with your selections as needed. He has thoughts on the early preseason in the NFL. Plus, again, the U.S. does not cover a huge spread, barely beating Serbia. And now we'll play the hometown Frenchies on Sunday for the gold medal. The U.S. Open is a 14-point favorite. They're now a 16.5-point favorite or so. And they have covered twice in the 5 games so far in the tournament. We'll get into that as well. And for the first time since the umps first yelled play ball this season, the Atlanta Braves are not in the playoffs after losing their 5th straight game yesterday. And now the Mets, the freaking card standings. Now they're right there. Braves are right there, a half a game out. But they're not in the playoff right now if the playoffs were to start today. Thankfully, they don't. They have tonight. They head for Colorado. Atlanta's now in Colorado for the weekend and attempt to get things straightened out. Now, tonight, the Zone has the Falcons and the Dolphins. While those of you that are listening on ESPN in Winchester and Franklin County, you will get the Braves game up there. All right, back in Mission Control, playing the platters that matter and the stacks of wax and answering the phones and living large and in charge on a Friday. It's the one and only El Capitan.
The producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I'd put this thing together on a spit and polish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
I have a sentimental weakness for my children, and I spoil them, as you can see. They talk when they should listen.
Give me back my son!
I don't like violence, Thom. I'm a businessman.
I'm telling you, there's an embarrassing press conference in that kid's future.
If you ain't first, you're last. He's got Abraham down.
What a catch!
What a catch! A leaping catch at the 45-yard lines, and he brings it in.
Hey, Captain Cool, how you doing?
No, Danny, Natty Danny just called right whenever my thing was about to end, so I got him in real quick. But I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful.
Yeah.
I threw him on there, and now he's ready to hop on and make his picks. But super excited about today's show.
Yeah, he'll have to do that after the break. But he is always leading the Football Friday Brigade. I mean, for the most part, it's Natty Danny, Paulie in the Cape. Those are usually the guys that get in first on this Football Friday. So we are going to get him in. You should be down here helping these guys move, and I should be back there in studio. If you could produce from down here.
I would be jealous that I'm not down there right now, but I was down there about 4 or 5 weeks ago, right before SEC Media Days. So I'm good without coming down, unless you can give me a car that's got AC that'll make it all the way down and back. So that's just the other thing to it. But I could produce the show down there, at least just the live stream. But I don't know if I could. You all use all these bells and whistles, but maybe Steve can set me up with some of that good stuff.
Yeah, no, you just stay put where you are. You got your 1 week off this year. You don't need to be going anywhere.
Yeah.
You just stay right there.
It's my week off
out
of 2 years, but yeah.
Yeah, that didn't suck. All right, let's get a break. When we come back, Natty Danny leads it off. It is a Football Friday. We have a Friday Future Fecta for you as well. Again, I'm looking for non-SEC, non-Big Ten teams that are going to make it into the playoffs this year. You want to give me those? We'll take your calls next. It's a Thom Abraham Show live in beautiful Florida.
Owen Home Appliance Center features the biggest names in home appliances like Viking, Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, GE, and Frigidaire. But they also have great brands that you may not know, like Mela, Forno, Z-Line, Invisicook, and Beko. But no matter what, they all get delivered the day you buy, and they service everything they sell. And at the Lacey Spring Showroom, just 8 miles south of the river on 231, you'll find a totally interactive showroom where you can hear the dishwashers wash and the freezer's free and see the cookies get baked in the double ovens. Owen Home Appliance Center will even wash and dry a load of clothes for you so that you can see how great the products are. And they have ice machines making all kinds of ice, cubed, nugget, and top hat. How is that for variety? Owen Home Appliance Center believes in community involvement as well, sponsoring youth teams, race cars, and an annual Easter egg hunt. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service is the name of the game for Owen Home Appliance Center. Find them in Somerville and Lacey Springs and online at owenappliance.com.
Embark on a flavorful journey at the Brewers Cooperative. Located within the vibrant community hub of Stovehouse in Huntsville, our brewery isn't just about crafting exceptional beers. It's a destination where culinary delights and local brews harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, our diverse menu has something to please every palate. With a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, we invite you to savor the unique flavors of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative. Call 256-678-7036. The Brewers Cooperative.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgating. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
Hey folks, Bob Baumhauer here. We're extremely proud that Baumhauer's Victory Grill has been serving Alabama for 43 legendary years. Our motto is legendary fun, legendary food, and we strive to make every dining experience a special one for all of our guests. Our menu features delicious, always fresh and scratch-made in-house recipes. And of course, our award-winning wings and sauces. And don't forget, our happy hour and halftime daily specials cannot be beat. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
And welcome back. Tom Abraham Show. We'll do an open phone line segment, and coming up at the bottom of the hour, Steve Merrill will join us. This segment of the Tom Abraham Show is brought to you by the service department at Woody Anderson Ford, the award-winning service department at Woody Anderson Ford. Not only taking care of routine checkups and so on, but also if you got a bigger problem, their expert service technicians are going to quickly diagnose it. And they're going to use state-of-the-art tools to resolve it for you. And they can take care of everything from, run it regular maintenance on belts and hoses and fluids. And it can also do air conditioning work, brake work, tranny repair. They do it all at Woody Anderson Ford. And if you can only get in there on a weekend or at night, it's the quick lane service department for you as well. It's a one-stop shop for everything, including brakes, tires, and batteries. And look, don't forget the certified gold pre-owned vehicles at Woody Anderson Ford. They're outstanding. At Woody Anderson, they ensure quick, professional, exceptional service. It's Woody Anderson Ford. For 20 years, the only place that I've gone to in the Tennessee Valley. All right, phone lines are open. We have a Friday Future Factor for you here. It's the third leg. We did SEC teams to make the playoff. We did Big Ten teams to make the playoff. And now we're doing non-SEC or Big Ten teams to make the playoff. And again, I'll continue to emphasize, you need one from the ACC, a minimum of one from the ACC. You need a minimum of one from the Big 12. You need a minimum from one from the Group of Five. And don't forget Notre Dame. I'm just saying, maybe you don't believe that Notre Dame's a playoff team. That's fine. But I'm just saying, don't forget about Notre Dame as well, because they're in the mix. All right, let's go to the lines. We start with Natty Danny. Natty Danny, welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, I guess I'm okay. I mean, I get good nights and bad nights where I wake up middle of the night. But last night, it got a little worse because I got up middle of the night and my sweet wife recorded the Lions game. And I thought, you know what? And she fell asleep on the couch, and then she woke up. We watched a little bit of it, and I'm watching it. And a backup quarterback is Suffeld. His name should be Suckfeld.
Yeah.
He sucks. And then Hendon Hooker, God, he could throw a football. Man. But is he one of those guys that's a whole lot of talent and is injury prone? Is he going to be one of those guys?
Yes. Well, not necessarily. He wasn't until late in his final year at Tennessee. So he really wasn't an injury prone guy. He had that knee injury late in his final year, and that was the only time really that he had that kind of a injury. The thing is that he likes to run, and that makes him susceptible to getting hurt. But I don't think overall that he's a guy you got to worry about it. Now, he's an older guy, too. I mean, Hendon Hooker's like 26 years old now and still hasn't played, in the NFL. So he's not a young guy. He played like 6 years of college football. But that is the wild card for the Lions. What does Hendon Hooker look like a year or 2 years from now? Because you should be set with Jared Goff, obviously.
Well, okay, but that's all right. That's one play away from not being good. Goff could get hurt, and then
exactly.
we got. So we go Suckfeld?
No. I think if something like that happened, you'd end up with Hendon Hooker in there. I think Hooker would beat out Suckfeld for that number 2 job, and they might still bring a veteran in. They could still bring a veteran backup in if they felt like they needed that to Goff. Yeah.
All right. So my one more take. So Harbaugh, there was a no big thing when it came to the COVID and the recruiting because he bought a guy a cheeseburger. So and even Feinbaum said that. Okay, so if it goes this way for the supposedly cheeseburger deal, it'll be a happy meal when it comes to this guy that cheated for us, which we don't. He wasn't even on the payroll, whatever his name was. I don't know.
Yeah, except for Connor Stallions, was part of that.
You there?
Cheeseburger. Yeah. Oh, I can hear you. Yeah, it's not about the cheeseburger. Right. Wait. It's not about the cheeseburger. The NCAA just issued him a 4-year show cause order, including a 1 full season suspension. Okay, so there was no chance he was going back to Michigan for the reason that he was going to be suspended he was already suspended for half a year. Now he's going to be suspended for a full year if he ever wants to go back to college football, and he has a 4-year show cause. And the ruling is that that Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, quote, violated recruiting and inducement rules, engaged in unethical conduct, failed to promote an atmosphere of compliance, and violated head coach responsibility obligations, close quote. That's not about buying a kid a cheeseburger. It had nothing to do with that. No. Just saying, it is what it is. You got your championship, but that's stained. It'll be stained forever based on, Harbaugh.
Well, it'll be stained. If it's stained, it's going to be yellow and maize and blue, baby. So I'm not worried about it, okay? So
Did you hear what his attorney said? Did you hear what his attorney, Tom Mars, said?
No.
He said, Tom Mars, Harbaugh's attorney, said, quote, the way I see it, from Coach Harbaugh's perspective, today's decision is like being in college and getting a letter from your high school saying that you're suspended because you didn't sign your yearbook. So they're blowing it off because he's never going to coach in college again. So
he's not going to coach. So I'll tell you what. I don't know what you think about this, but I think he's going to do well in San Diego. He's got a really good quarterback.
We'll see.
I'm telling you, you'll see.
Quarterback's hurt. Quarterback's hurt, and hopefully he'll be ready for the start of the season. But Harbaugh's track record would indicate that he will do well at San Diego. He'll get him into playoffs, and then the team will burn out.
All right. So there's 3 picks I got to take, correct?
Well, not 3. It's at least 3. But the question is, So you just name teams that you think that are not in the Big Ten or the SEC that are going to get into the playoff. You got to have at least 3 because you got to have one from the ACC, one from the Big 12, and one from the Group of 5, and then you can add whoever else you want to add. Maybe there's 2 from the ACC. Maybe you think Clemson and Florida State are going to make the playoff.
I got picked up another one here. Okay. All right. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let's start with Oregon State.
Wow. Oregon State. All right. There's a country unheard from. All right.
And how about Florida State?
All right. That's a good pick.
How about Notre Dame?
And then Notre Dame is a good pick.
And then Texas Tech.
And Texas Tech.
Yeah, that's 4. That'll give me 4, right?
That'll give you 4. Yep. So we got you.
Well, there you go. Okay. All right. Listen, I appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
All right. You too. I didn't expect the Oregon State pick.
No, that one was out of left field.
That was random.
Literally out of left field.
That one came out of left field. Yeah, that was a little bit random.
It's not a bad pick,
No, it's not a bad pick. Most people feel like the team that's going to come out of the Group of 5 is Memphis. That's a popular pick out of the Group of 5, but we'll see.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah. All right, let's grab a break. When we come back, Steve Merrill will join us next, and we'll get his take on this right here on the Thom Abraham Show, live from Florida.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Team USA men's basketball will play for the gold after rallying to beat Serbia on Thursday, 95-91, the final. The U.S. surged back from a 17-point deficit. LeBron James had a triple-double with 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. Team USA will take on France this Saturday in a rematch of the 2021 Olympic final. France defeated Germany 73-69 to advance to the gold medal game. The U.S. favored by 16.5 against France. Over under 176.5. France plus 820 on the money line, the U.S. minus 1,600. Serbia is favored by 2.5. Germany plus 120 on the money line. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, we love baseball almost as much as we love serving up the best and baddest burgers around. People have called our burgers totally insane. And at Bad Daddy's, we take that as a compliment. But it's not just burgers. Up first, starters like our fried pickles, wings, or poblano frites. Second, try one of Bad Daddy's giant chopped salads. Third, our famous chef-inspired burgers with lots of different taste options. And before you head home, finish up with one of our shakes or delicious banana pudding. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway in Huntsville and Clift Farm in Madison.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? My phone rings in my office.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're the ones who take your call.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see? Every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments. It doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the lower 90s, dropping into the mid and upper 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Saturday morning. Going to be a fantastic weekend across the area. Mostly sunny sky Saturday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. It's also not going to be all that humid across the Tennessee Valley. That's going to be quite nice, making for a perfect Saturday. Now, some of us could see the lower 90s, but that's still not bad when you consider the fact that it is early August. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Glad you were with us here on this Football Friday. We are efforting Steve Merrill, scheduled to join us here shortly on WZZN TV, as he always does, and we'll have him, and we'll get into our Football Friday picks with him and a few other things, including the NFL preseason. And we are down to the gold medal game now on Sunday with the U.S. men's team, a 16-point favorite over France. And they've only covered in 2 out of the 5 games, including not covering and barely getting beat, almost getting beat by Serbia this past game yesterday. So we'll see what happens there. We're not even talking about the women's side. They've won 60 straight games in the Olympics, the women. The women are going to win in a song. There's no question that the women are going to win. You know why? Because the women play as teammates. They play as a team. That's what the women do. The segment of the show is brought to you by Owen Home Appliance Center. They got a great team there as well. They're gold medalists. I can tell you that right now. If there was a gold medal for having a interactive showroom for appliances, I think that Owen Home Appliance Center would have it. Their Lacey Springs showroom is unbelievable. It's just 8 miles south of the river on 231. Anyone that's within my listening voice is close enough to go on down there and check it out. And you can check out all the beautiful appliances there, including the freezers that they have right now. And this is the time of year when you want to make sure that you get that freezer to, don't take a chance, and all that meat or that deer that you shot last fall, getting bad because your freezer went down because of the heat. All right. Owen Home Appliance, they've got them in stock and they're ready to be delivered, or they're ready for you to pick them up. And while supplies last, you get a $50 gift card towards the purchase of Wagyu beef when you purchase a freezer down there, like my cousin Vinny did. He went down there and got one. Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's right there in the name. So as I was saying, the U.S. men's team, this is a conglomeration of tremendous athletic ability. But once again, we got to call into question, and you hate to do this because they're on the verge of winning a gold medal. They're going to win a gold medal. But it feels too difficult. I mean, is that unfair, John, to say it feels too difficult? It should come easier to this group of players. They had to have a Herculean effort from Steph Curry with 36 points, including 9. Jokic the one other NBA player, Bogdanovich, and that's it.
No. Yeah, I have to agree with you on this. You have the amount of stellar talent. You call yourselves like the champions of the world, or the best in the world, all of that. And then when you throw all of these guys that have found success in the NBA on the exact same team, just to see them, struggle against another team where it's like, yeah, there's 2-3 NBA players on it. But other than that, they don't have Steph Curry. They don't have LeBron James. These guys literally are in movies because of their legacy that they've left. Whereas Serbia, it's Serbia. It's a great team, no lie, but it shouldn't be holding a candle to the US.
It's a great player. I mean, they got the best player in the world. There's no doubt about it. It's 3-time MVP, almost took down the NBA by himself. I mean, it's, and Bogdanovich was good, as well. I don't want to take anything away from him. But they'll play France now. The U.S. will play France now in the final. France got over on Germany 73-69. And these people that are saying that this team would have beaten the dream team, or this team could give the dream team of 1992 a push, you're out of your freaking mind, okay? The dream team of 1992, they would beat this current U.S. team by 4 or 5 points anyway. But they're all in their 60s now. They would have destroyed that team. That dream team in 92 with Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and those guys, get out of here.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley.
Well, the defense was a lot better. Defense was a lot better back in the day, I will say.
Everything was a lot better. Don't tell me the scoring wasn't, but they would have ripped these guys' hearts. They had LeBron on the sideline crying.
Well, the one thing that wasn't better was the competition that they were going up against, because there weren't as many these talented ballers from these different countries. So that's the one thing you could say.
Dream Team is responsible for what we have seen on the world stage over the last 30 years. I mean, it's because of that, what happened there in the Dream Team and all of that all of a sudden these other countries really started, picking up the pace. And there are great players in France. There are great players in Serbia. There are great players in Greece. A few. But it's a few here, a few there. We're having a hard time boiling it down to our top, to our top team. This is what I wonder. I honestly wonder this. What would UConn's men's basketball team do if they had just sent the UConn men's basketball team over there with Danny Hurley? Would they actually play better because they play as a team? Would they be better off than sending all this collection of superstars? You take a collection of superstars and they're out there and they play very individualistic type basketball, and you wonder about their motivation and everything else. What if UConn was there? I don't know. I'm just saying. That was a question, by the way, that I have for Steve Merrill. And hopefully he'll be joining us shortly. But yeah, if you just took a team and sent the team over there, how would they do? That's the question that I have. All right, if you want to get in, you can get in. It's a good time to get in. We are talking about the playoffs and the non-Big Ten, non-SEC teams that will get into the college football playoff. Now, the hardest one for some of you to think about is probably the group of 5 teams. Who are the group of 5 teams? Who am I even picking out of the group of 5 teams? And here's one look at 10 group of 5 teams that could be, have a great opportunity to get in. Boise State, let's start there. All right. According to ESPN's FPI, the Football Power Index, according to that Football Power Index, Boise State is a 16.4% chance of getting in. So Boise State, solid team, Mountain West. Texas El Paso. And by the way, when I mention these teams, and I'm talking about Texas El Paso with a 15.6%, does Texas El Paso is going to keep a team from the SEC or the Big Ten out of the playoff. And I'm telling you, the time is going to come, they're going to look at this. Unless these teams do something early on in the playoff, in the first couple of years of the playoff, I'm not sure that there's not going to be another change down the road. Because if Texas El Paso is playing Notre Dame as the 5 seed or Alabama as the 5 seed and they get the break speed off of them, How many years are we going to see that before we say, okay, this is ridiculous? The number 3 team in terms of FPI, according to ESPN, is Liberty with a 9.6% chance of making it. Liberty. Okay. Number 4 is Memphis. I've been mentioning Memphis. There's a lot to like about this Memphis team. And, can Memphis win the AAC? We'll see whether or not. Remember, all the glory teams that were in the AAC that were doing damage, they're gone. They're now in the Big 12. Big 12 took like 3 or 4 top teams out of the AAC. Number 5 team, Appalachian State. The Appalachian State has a 7% chance of getting there out of the Sun Belt. If rated team in that conference. And number 6 is Tulane. They are the reigning AAC champs. Now, they lost their head coach. They lost their starting quarterback. They have John Summerall coming over from Troy. He is of Grissom. Of course, John Summerall from Grissom. And he's got Oregon transfer quarterback Ty Thompson in there with him. And so we'll see. I think that Tulane has made enough noise in the last couple of years. A lot of people will be looking closely at them. Fresno State at number 7. Number 8 is Troy. Speaking of John Summerall. Troy, they lost their head coach and their quarterback and their leading rusher and their top receivers, and they're in a rebuilding mode. But, who knows? Troy, if they can do some damage early on. Texas State is number 9. And the number 10 best shot is Miami of Ohio with a 3% chance if they win the MAC. Got to win the MAC. They won 11 games, and they won the MAC last year. And they got enough talent when they come back that maybe they can get it done and end up the highest-ranked team. None of these teams are top 25 teams going in. None of them are top 25 teams going into the season. So if it finishes that way, what we're looking at is a team outside of the top 25 being in the playoff. All right, give me LSU Lynch. Lynch, welcome to the show. How are you?
What's going on, son? The wind blowing down there causing that sound to go out, huh?
Well, I think it's either that or, the sketchy internet, to be honest with you.
Anyway, this is a real quick day in and out. Let's go Memphis. The Lucky Charms.
Clemson.
Utah.
No, wait a minute. Utah's in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're the Big 12 champ. Yeah, right. I keep thinking I had group of 5 in my head. Okay, Utah, and then who was the last one?
Oklahoma State.
Okie State. Okay.
Y'all have a great weekend. Thank you for taking my phone call. Go LSU. Y'all call in. I know you're listening. Call in.
Boom. LSU Lynch banging it. Are we getting a little choppy, John? Are we still dropping every once in a while a little bit?
No, I'm just dealing with the phones as well. You got Vinny up next.
My cousin Vinny jumping in. Vincenzo, welcome in. How are you?
Tom, I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm a little surprised I haven't heard from Paulie in the Cape, being that I am about 10 miles from Paulie in the Cape right now on the other side of the bridge. But I suspect that we'll hear from him at some point.
Well, probably either that he's coming over to visit you and he's stuck in traffic, one or the other. So
that could be the case.
You never can tell about
traffic they got here. Yeah, they specialize in traffic down here. I can guarantee you that.
Is it as bad as Huntsville?
It's so much worse than Huntsville. It's so much worse than Huntsville. Huntsville is desolate compared to this place. I mean, it's ridiculous. No. And it's summer. This is supposedly off season. You know what I mean? They're like, everybody talks about the season. When I first got here 23 years ago with the Thom Abraham show, in the summer, it really was. You could roll a hand grenade down 41 and not hurt anybody. But it has changed. I mean, now, this place is packed. You can't get around. The traffic is ridiculous, and it's August down here. It was the low last night was 88 degrees. That was the low last night. Miserable.
Okay. Well, anyway, but you're enjoying yourself full side, and the kids are okay and everything else, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, they're okay. Everybody's okay. I don't know how much enjoying poolside there will be. I do intend to jump in the pool at some point in time tonight after we're loading the truck. I'm sure we'll be nice and sweaty, and it's going to be very nice to kind of just jump in the truck tonight or jump in the pool tonight for a few minutes.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'd rather take a beating than move or help anybody move. So hats off.
I hear that.
Kudos.
Well, when your daughter calls, you respond. All right, go ahead.
Let's go Florida State.
Got him.
Notre Dame.
Got him.
Oklahoma State. And out of the group of 5, let's go with Rice.
Rice. Okay, there you go. That's an interesting pick.
Rice.
All right.
Okay.
We got you, Vinny.
Well, I was listening to some expert on Chuck Oliver, so I said, hey, that's as good as anything else, I guess. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
All right.
All right, man.
All right, I appreciate
it. All right, thanks.
Bye now.
All right, we'll grab a break. It looks like we won't have Steve Merrill. Maybe we'll get him. I don't think we'll get him in the second hour. I think he's got a TV show to do. But if we don't, that's all right. We'll come back with more of you next. And coming up at the top of the hour, Mark Hubbard will join us. He wrote the book on Air Precision, and we'll talk about that as well. It's the Thom Abraham Show. More right after this.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This summer, make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Make it 0% financing, make it no down payment, and make no payments for 90 days. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. It's our Ford Summer Sales event, and I promise you can save serious dollars on a large selection of our 2024 Fords. We've got financing as low as 0% for 36 months on 2024 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, Edge, Escape, plus all-electric F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E. And on all these Fords I just mentioned, you'll make no down payment and no payments for 90 days. Can you say Orange Beach, here we come? This is going to be a good summer. Come choose from over 550 new Fords, and you'll learn firsthand that nobody will work harder to earn your business. Brand new, award-winning Fords with 0% financing, no down payment, and no payment for 90 days with your good credit. This offer ends 9/3/24. Come see us today and make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
In football and in finance, the best offense is a good defense. Neighbors Wealth Management has joined forces with Alliance Group to provide Alabamans with world-class financial service on both sides of the ball. Get the expertise to grow your wealth and protect your assets all under one roof. Give us a call and let's work together to turn your personal financial franchise into a perennial powerhouse. 256-469-2324 or visit us at neighborswealthmanagement.com. That number again is 256-469-2324 or neighborswealthmanagement.com. Attention life insurance owners. Do you have a policy with cash value and haven't had a review since you purchased your policy? Did you forget who the agent is? Your policy may be at risk as interest rates have fallen and remain at historical lows. Contact the experts at Neighbors Wealth Management to get a free policy review and know where you stand. Call us at Neighbors Wealth Management, 256-469-2324, or on the web at neighborswealthmanagement.com. That's Neighbors Wealth Management, 256-469-2324, or on the web at neighborswealthmanagement.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888
Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the lower 90s, dropping into the mid and upper 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Saturday morning. Going to be a fantastic weekend across the area. Mostly sunny sky Saturday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. It's also not going to be all that humid across the Tennessee Valley. That's going to be quite nice, making for a perfect Saturday. Now, some of us could see the lower 90s, but that's still not bad when you consider the fact that it is early August. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
Son, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Top of the hour. Mark Hubbard.
Yeah. Last time I tried to do that, I ended up covering up the wrong song, and then
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so that's I thought about it before. I thought about it,
know.
and I used my mind and brain to do the best thing I could.
Yeah. Well, as we all know, that is the fight song for Buckhorn High School, is what that is. So there you go. All right, let's get Brandon in here before we get to top of the hour music. Brandon, welcome to the show. How are you?
Man, been running around doing a bunch this morning, trying to help some people out after that bus crash last night.
Well, I tell you what, I saw that T-shirt that you sent the boys, the morning show crew, on WZZN. That was pretty cool. That's a good job by you, man. That was pretty funny. They need to get more of those and take them to a remote or something.
Well, what I couldn't figure out was they gave me two shirts, and they spelled Scott Tyson's name right on one of them, and they spelled it wrong on the other one.
That's about right. But I can't figure out, what I don't understand is, how does Drew DeArmond get top billing? For those of you that don't know, it's a political-looking shirt that said DeArmond Tyson 24, and so it looks like a political campaign shirt, which I thought was kind of funny. Brandon had it made up, sent it to the boys as a surprise. But how does Drew DeArmond get top billing? How does he get how is Tyson the vice president of that group?
Well, my wife said DeArmond Tyson sounds better than Tyson DeArmond. And I said, "You're sure?" And she said, "Yes." She said, "It rolls better." And I said, "All right, let's roll with it."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to admit though, Drew's got more of the he's got more of the Trump spontaneous meltdown in him than Scott does.
Yeah, but do we want Drew with his hand on the button? That's all I'm saying. We don't want Drew to have the football. You know what I mean? We can't have Drew with his finger on the button.
Hey, Trump had it and he didn't use it, so I guess, you got to give somebody a chance. But I started to come up with
then Drew is
one for. I tried to come up with one for John and Bailey, but I didn't know how friendly some of the funny stuff I wanted to put on it would be, so I just kind of refrained.
Yeah. Well, don't worry about our show, because we got some great JYD Thom Abraham show T-shirts coming out for our listeners, so you don't have to worry about us.
Well, that's what I knew. Sure. You said you already had a shirt coming out, and then I was thinking, I was like, Abraham and Abraham, and then I started Abraham 24, then on the bottom of it, I started to put father of many sons.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a good campaign shirt, too.
Yeah.
Too many Abrahams.
All right. Text me your
Utah
picks.
And Liberty.
Okay, Utah and Liberty. You need an ACC team.
Utah Liberty. I'm going to let them UCF.
Wait a minute, UC. You need a team from the ACC still.
Oh, that's never mind. Let's see. Miami.
All right, it's a good pick. Got you in.
Roll Tide.
All right, when we come back, Mark Hubbard will join us. Wrote the book on air precision. He's next, right here on the Thom Abraham Show.
The Trash Pandas want to help you raise money for your organization. Local nonprofits can enroll in a Trash Pandas ticket fundraiser Organizations receive a minimum of 20 ticket vouchers at a discounted rate. The vouchers are sold at face value, and the organization keeps 100% of the proceeds up front. No deposit is required. For details, visit TrashPandasBaseball.com.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
This is SportsCenter.
Good morning. I'm Doug Brown. The U.S. women's basketball team tries for its 60th straight Olympic win today. They'll take the floor shortly for a semifinal matchup against Australia. Team USA favored by 15.5 on ESPN Bet. U.S. men's water polo beaten in the semifinals today by two-time reigning Olympic champ Serbia, 10-6. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says there's no sense of urgency for him to get a contract extension finalized with wideout CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys play the Rams in their preseason opener Sunday, but Lamb is not in training camp. He's under contract this season for $18 million. Baseball Thursday night, the Mariners beat the Tigers 4-3 on a walk-off 3-run double by Mitch Haniger. The Phillies beat the Diamondbacks 6-4. Trey Turner drives in 2 runs.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Each week, check out our latest Zone deal online at 977ESPN.com.
I'm eating good food.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on. That's my dog. Now live, here he is, the big dog, Thom Abraham.
How you doing? Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. Live on location. We come to you from sunny Southwest Florida. That's not very sunny right now, but that's where we are broadcasting from today. This segment of the show is brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. Whether you are in Alabama or Tennessee or in Florida, North Alabama Mortgage has the answer for you. This is a great time to use your equity in your home to eliminate consumer debt forever and then refi later to get that lower rate or shorter term when the rates drop, and they will drop. You can learn more at NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. Brian Hammaker and his team standing by to take care of you there. It's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. All right, as I said in the opening of the show, full disclosure, growing up in the 60s and becoming aware of college football by the late 60s and having a father that loved Notre Dame football because he played for the Aquinas Little Irish in upstate New York, and many players from there ended up going to Notre Dame. So we did the whole Notre Dame thing every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. after church to come home and watch the 2-hour recap of Notre Dame football with Paul Hornung and Lindsey Nelson, and man, it was just such great stuff. I became fascinated with Era Precision. I mean, that was just the way it was, and he was the guy that led them to 3 national championships. And now Mark Hubbard has written the definitive book and authorized biography of Era Precision, and Mark joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Mark, welcome in. How are you?
Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Now, Mark, I'm 63, so I don't know if you're writing this book based on history or if you also lived some of this history like I did growing up with the Lindsey Nelson, Paul Hornung. We now move forward to later action after an exchange of punts and those glorious Sunday morning recaps of Notre Dame football.
I'm going to be 75, so I'm a little bit older than you are, and I do remember those Sunday morning shows. But of course, I attended Notre Dame and got there in 1967, the year after the national championship in '66, and I was part of that whole groundswell of enthusiasm for Era and all of the things that he did to turn around the program there. So this was a labor of love, and he was a personal friend, so it made it even more of an important book for me to do and do well.
He was such a, for me as a kid growing up in the 60s, it was like a grandfatherly type of guy. And I don't know how young he was then or not, because, back then when you're a kid and you're growing up and you see a guy like that, he might have been 40 years old or 45 years old, and he looks like he's 80, to you. Bear Bryant, when he died at 69, I was a kid. I wasn't a kid then. I was 22, 23 years old when Bear Bryant died. I thought he was 80 years old, and he was only 69 years old.
Yeah, Era got to Notre Dame when he was 40 and stopped coaching after 11 seasons and turned 52 in the middle of the year after he quit coaching. And oddly enough, you mentioned Bear Bryant. He and Bear Bryant were actually very, very good friends. And of course, there was a couple of games in Era's career that were very close games with Alabama. They happened to go the way of Notre Dame, but there is an enormous respect between Notre Dame and the University of Alabama, and it goes back a long way. So I think that was noted in the book, and there's a very nice letter that Era wrote to Coach Bryant after the 1973 game, and I think readers would find that very touching, especially people from Alabama.
I was, by then I'm 12, 13 years old, and I'm in my rebellion stage. And I remember that I think one was the Orange Bowl and one was the Sugar Bowl. And so my dad was a big Notre Dame fan, so I started pulling for Bear Bryant, the guy in the funny hat. And of course, both games are won. I think one was, I'm not strictly going from memory, I didn't look it up, but it was 24-23 and one, and the other was like 13-12 or something. They were very close games, both won by Notre Dame, to which which I got it.
Of course, the game in 73 was essentially for the national championship, and it was won by 1 point. And there was probably the most famous play in Era's career. From the end zone, they threw a pass to from Tom Clemens to Robin Weber, and people remember that play as being the definitive moment when Notre Dame was able to keep the ball and run the clock out and seal the win. The odd part about that is I've done a lot of checking, and that was probably an improvised play, not actually a play that was called in the huddle. And so it's just interesting that the most famous play in the Coach Parsegian's career was actually improvised. I will tell you, though, that he wrote it down in hand script, and I have a copy of that play in the book, and he added it to the playbook the next year.
Wow. Of course, you mentioned that 66 national championship. That is the year of the infamous tie, with Michigan State. And, the Alabama fans that are listening right now will bristle every time they hear that, because that's the year of
Hello.
Alabama was unbeaten, untied that year, and the national championship was awarded to Notre Dame. And there was a lot of talk about, how much race played in that scenario. That was still pre-integration at the University of Notre Dame or University of Alabama. And Notre Dame had an excellent team that year, but Alabama fans will tell you that was the year that Alabama should have been national champions too.
Well, they have a case, but I wrote kind of the definitive book on the '66 season for Notre Dame, and there were 3 or 4 really good teams. Michigan State has a share of the national championship granted by the National Football Foundation, and they actually have a banner in their stadium, and their players have national championship rings for '66. But Notre Dame was the undisputed from the idea of AP and UPI, and
yes, they were. Yeah.
And the year before, Alabama had a share of the national championship with Michigan State. Those are all great teams and a great era. And this book, while it's about football, it's really about football during the golden age of college sports, and about a wonderful personality who succeeded and was a fellow that with great integrity and meant a lot to the University of Notre Dame, just like Paul Bryant meant to the Alabama team and fans. I think readers would like this book just because it's a good book about football and college football.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And a great man in Era Precision. Was there thought? See, again, now when he retires, now I'm 13, 14 years old. He's 52 years old. And I'm like, well, that's an old guy. He's probably going to die pretty soon. But now, of course, we think of 52 years old, and it could have been the middle of his career. Was there ever a thought that was it, that Era Precision would never coach again after that 11-year run at Notre Dame?
It's been talked about, and I had conversations with him. He left because of stress, mostly self-induced, and he knew that his health would be at risk. And so he walked away on his own accord and completely at will. And of course, he would get feelers from college and pro teams after that, but he liked being part of the college game, first of all, so the pro game wasn't as interesting to him. And he just, after 1 year of taking time off, he was approached to do television. And so he did ABC and CBS as a color commentator. And he found those years to be very enjoyable because he didn't have to prepare for the games, but he could go to the games and talk to his friends in football, and then go home on Sunday morning and prepare for the next game, but not have to worry about the next game. So those were actually very good years for him, as well as being a broadcaster in college football.
I thought he was an outstanding, again, formative years, for me. Now I'm in my teens and I'm listening to Era Precision doing the games as a broadcaster. I thought he was an outstanding broadcaster. I mean, it not only insightful, but with delivery and humor. Was he considered a really good college broadcaster during those years?
Oh, I think so. You have to remember that the NCAA granted the game of the week to ABC in 1966. And so whenever retired in 74, they still had the contract. And of course, the main voice in those days for the game of the week was Keith Jackson. And I got to know Keith pretty well. And Keith and Era were best of friends. And they were a formidable team when they did the games together. And then CBS was offered a part of that contract, and CBS was able to lure Era away because they thought he was so good, and they teamed him up with Brent Musburger, and they had a nice run as well. So he worked with two really great professionals, and those were great games to follow on either network. But you didn't have the proliferation of cable and all the networks having television games on top of each other. So it was a different era in college sports.
The book is Era, the life and legacy of a Notre Dame legend, authorized a biography of Coach Era Precision, and written by Mark Hubbard, who is joining us now as we talk about the book. Forward is by Rocky Bleier, of course, great player with not only Notre Dame, but then the Pittsburgh Steelers after his injury in Vietnam. Nobody ever thought that he would be able to do what he did. And he was such an inspirational guy. So having Rocky Blyer do the forward on that book, I think is pretty cool as well.
I appreciate that. He's a good friend, and he, when I asked him, he said he'd be honored, and he did a really good job. It's very short, but very poignant, the foreword that Rocky wrote, and it sets the tone for the rest of the book, which is really about personality and character, but obviously in the context of a successful career in college football, and then a successful career in broadcasting. And then at the end of Era's life, he was very committed to raising funds for medical research, because 3 of his grandchildren died of a autoimmune disease as young children, and he committed his life to raising money for medical research. And of course, he got a lot of support from his friends and his teammates for the Era Parsegian Medical Research Foundation. And the money that I would get as the author's royalty, I'm donating to the Medical Research Foundation.
Wow.
So, I don't make any money on this book. It was a labor of love, and he was a good friend and a respected friend, and I was really honored when Katie Parsegian, his wife, called me and said she wanted me to write it, and she was a collaborator with me, and so I'm glad that it's out there, and I hope all college football fans enjoy it. Notre Dame fans will especially like it, but I think anybody that remembers college football and kind of the golden era from about 1965 to 2000, 2005 will find this to be a very interesting book.
95, 17, and 4 in his 116 games as coach at Notre Dame, which is an unbelievable record. And again, for our Alabama fans, there are a lot of parallels to his career and Bear Bryant's career. Bear Bryant getting to Alabama in the late 50s. They had been stumbling around and troubled, at that point in time, and he turns it around and makes them a national power and wins national championships there early on in his career. And Era Parsegian coming to a Notre Dame team. It's not like Notre Dame never had bad years. I think Paul Hornung, when he won the Heisman Trophy, they were something like 2-7 maybe, or 2-10 or 2. It was something like that.
Yeah, no, it was a losing season. He's the only Heisman Award winner with a team that had a losing season. And
so they
we
struggled
call
in
that
the
the
50s
period
as
of
well.
penance at Notre Dame.
Yeah, exactly. So they struggled as well. And then both these programs come to great prominence in the 60s and into the 70s. So it is interesting, the parallels. Plus, Era Parsegian's, it's a history of the 60s too, right? I mean, this is the year that the President Kennedy is shot. This is the year that there's so much turmoil in the country. And here's Era, the model of discipline, taking over the most disciplined program in Notre Dame. I think it'll be a fascinating read for anybody that's even a history buff.
Right. We had to add other things that were important at the time: the civil rights movement, the Vietnam War. But very interesting that you mentioned the parallels in the coaches. I got to know John Underwood, who actually wrote a very comprehensive book about Bear Bryant, and I met Coach Bryant a number of times. And John did a piece for the College Football Hall of Fame, which I quote in the book, and he basically says that college football is a coach's game. And I think that's really true, that if you look at great teams and great programs, it starts with great coaches. And it doesn't matter what your name or your brand is. If you don't have great coaches, you don't have great teams.
Well, and we've seen numerous examples of teams that had great legacy that struggled for decades when they don't have the right coach. And then again, at Alabama, you get the 17-year run with Nick Saban. We're wondering whether or not Mario Cristobal can bring Miami back to prominence. And so now you look at the situation at Notre Dame. I have felt like, and I fell off of Notre Dame a little bit after Lou Holtz. I loved Lou Holtz. I loved that 88 team. I thought they got screwed out of another national championship, to be honest with you, on the Rocket Ismail punt return for a touchdown. And that hold was way behind the play. It had nothing to do with the play in the Orange Bowl. And I think that was the year Colorado had 5 downs to win a game and so on. So there should have been 2 national championships with that group. But my question for you is in this current climate, in this arms race that we have, and nobody has more arms than Notre Dame, really, but can Notre Dame win another national championship? I mean, can they still, with their academic requirements and everything else, the South is dominated. Michigan gets a championship this past year, but the South is dominated for 20 years plus. Can Notre Dame still win a national championship in your view?
Well, I think that's a valid question. I don't have the answer. I think that college football is in a very, very tumultuous situation right now because of NIL and the portal. And so you never know what the composition of any team is going to be in any year. I do think that Notre Dame will be a lot more sane around the use of NIL and the portal to assemble their teams. And for that reason, it may be more difficult to win a national championship. On the other hand, if you were a person that was playing and had a great career at some place and wanted to get a graduate degree, and you wanted to play, big time football somewhere, you'd really only look at a handful of schools to do it. And in that regard, Notre Dame probably does have some advantages for people that want to do one more year of college football. We have a quarterback this year from Duke who's doing that. And of course, last year we had Sam Hartman from Wake Forest. So I don't know what the formula is for success. I know it's going to be much more difficult. I think that there's a lot of money being thrown around, and I'm not sure about the wisdom or the morality of that, but I'm not going to be writing any books about coaches in this day and era. I can tell you that.
Well, one thing I'd like to see him do there is tear up that synthetic turf.
Yep. It's interesting.
Stadium.
I agree, but people that live in the north and have to go to games in the snow and the rain and coach there, they're adamant about using that turf, and I think it's not conducive to play without injuries. I think there's a lot of injuries in turf, but the new turf is better than the old AstroTurf. That was true. Terrible.
Better than the old. Mark Hubbard with us here. All right, finally, this isn't the first book written about Era Precision, certainly, but tell us something that we will get out of this book, something that we're going to glean out of this book, even to old guys like me, that will that'll make them say, there's something new I did not know about the great career of Era Precision.
Well, I'll give you one golden nugget. I found out from his niece that when Era graduated from high school, from Akron South High School in Ohio, of course, everybody has their picture in there and the activities, and then they have a prophecy of what they're destined to do. You know how that happens in all the yearbooks.
Yeah.
And in Era's yearbook, the prophecy was destined to become the head football coach at Notre Dame. Now, how chilling is that?
Well, especially when you think about the fact that if you weren't a Notre Dame man and you weren't a Catholic, pretty much didn't get that job, and so that was, for him to be able to say that at that age is interesting.
Well, it wasn't his saying; it was the people that knew him. They were the ones.
Oh, the other people said it. Okay.
Yeah, it was the editors of the yearbook, and so it was kind of one of those little, I'd call them God winks that you get that says, "Mike, that's pretty amazing that you were able to discover that and it actually came true." How many high school seniors have crazy things written about them and none of them ever come true, but this one did. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, very much so. Mark Hubbard is the author. The book is Era, The Life and Legacy of a Notre Dame Legend, the authorized biography of Coach Era Precision. It was done at the Notre Dame Press as well, which is neat. And it's the next book up for me. I can tell you that, Mark. I'm just finishing up one now. I always have a book or two going, and I'm really looking forward to getting into this one. It's perfect timing heading into the college football season because, with college football without Notre Dame football doesn't make any sense. So
invite me back and we'll talk more about the book. I'd be happy to do it with you.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right.
Mark Hubbard, who wrote the book on Era Precision. I am very much looking forward to this book. Very much so. I got to finish the one I'm in right now. I can't read multiple. I'm not a real good multitasker when it comes to that. I can multitask other stuff, and I can read like my bass fishing magazines, and I read the internet. I read pretty much the entire internet every day. You know what I mean? I read the internet from the beginning to the end every day, John. That's how I prep for the show. I'm not like you young guys who just like read the headlines of 3 stories and think you're ready to go. I read the entire internet.
No, come on.
I read to the end. I get to the end of the internet every day.
I go to China and get my scrolls, and that's how I get all the information because China gets it first.
But I always have a book going at the same time. So
I don't know what
so I got a book going right now, a Walt Longmire book that I got to get finished. I'm going to get through that thing, and then I'm reading this book here, the Air Precision book. And you will find this one in the library at the Big Dog Production Studios as well in the not too distant future. I do have it in hand, and it is really an impressive piece. All right, we'll get a break in here. When we come back, your phone calls. I'm looking for 4 teams that aren't in the SEC or the Big Ten, not 4 teams, however many teams that aren't in the SEC or the Big Ten that are going to make the college football playoff. This is the end of our 3-week future fecta on college football. We did the SEC 2 weeks ago. Many of you had 4 teams. Some had 3. We did the Big Ten last week. Most of you had 4 teams. Some had 3. And now we got to fill out the rest of the field. You got to have at least 1 team from the ACC, 1 team from the Big 12, and 1 team from the Group of 5. That's just a fact. You also have to think about Notre Dame, whether or not, they're one of the last of the independents, if they're going to make the playoff. All right. They can't get the bye, but they can get into playoff. They can be as high as a 5 seed and host a first round game. So give me the teams outside of the Big Ten and the SEC that are going to make the college football playoff. And this is part of our grand trifecta. And our grand prize for the grand trifecta this season will once again be the VIP experience at the TransPerfect Music City Bowl in Nashville, coming up on the 31st this year. And it's a great experience. The listeners that have won that prize in the past will tell you that it is a wonderful, wonderful experience. So if you want to jump on board and there's only 2 ways to get in: the text window or by calling the show. And if you miss the SEC and the Big Ten ones, yes, you can catch up. But I don't want you to do that on the air. You got to catch up by going to the text window and hitting us there. Otherwise, if you want to call in and give us your teams that are not SEC and Big Ten teams, you can go ahead and do it now and hit the phone lines at 256-576-4977, wherever you're listening to the show. We'll be back. Your calls are next. It's the Thom Abraham Show.
Owen Home Appliance Center features the biggest names in home appliances like Viking, Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, GE, and Frigidaire. But they also have great brands that you may not know, like Mela, Forno, Z-Line, Invisicook, and Beko. But no matter what, they all get delivered the day you buy, and they service everything they sell. And at the Lacey Spring Showroom, just 8 miles south of the river on 231, you'll find a totally interactive showroom where you can hear the dishwashers wash and the freezer's free and see the cookies get baked in the double ovens. Owen Home Appliance Center will even wash and dry a load of clothes for you so that you can see how great the products are. And they have ice machines making all kinds of ice, cubed, nugget, and top hat. How is that for variety? Owen Home Appliance Center believes in community involvement as well, sponsoring youth teams, race cars, and an annual Easter egg hunt. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service is the name of the game for Owen Home Appliance Center. Find them in Somerville and Lacey Springs and online at owenappliance.com.
Looking for your next game day party destination? Well, think outside the box and kick back at Flosa Premier. And you may be thinking, isn't that the trampoline place? Of course it is. But it's also the one-stop spot for all things fun. And if kicking back with the boys to watch the game is your jam, then you're in the right spot. Jump or not, Flo tends to all ages, meaning while you sit back and watch the game, but little Jimmy's having the time of his life perfecting that front flip he most definitely wants to show you. You got this, Jimmy. So next time you think Flo, think fun for everyone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgate. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
Hello, listeners. I want to tell you a little bit about Minuteman Press and what we have to offer our community. We specialize in paper printing and can help from designing your piece to the finished product. We print media guides for many of the athletic departments at high schools and universities around the area. We typically purchase sponsorships from these schools as well to try and help them with their fundraising. Once we have reached our new normal, we also print all types of marketing materials for you to hand out either in person, via mail, or at various trade shows and events. At Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
Hey folks, Bob Baumhauer here. We're extremely proud that Baumhauer's Victory Grill has been serving Alabama for 43 legendary years. Our motto is legendary fun, legendary food, and we strive to make every dining experience a special one for all of our guests. Our menu features delicious, always fresh and scratch-made in-house recipes. And of course, our award-winning wings and sauces. And don't forget, our happy hour and halftime daily specials cannot be beat. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Show live from Florida. This segment of the show is brought to you by Rocket City Federal Solutions, LLC. They're committed to streamlining engineering solutions for all aspects of installations of facilities, construction, and management worldwide with expertise and precision. These guys are great Americans. They're helping to keep us safe everywhere. Team at Rocket City Federal Solutions is headed by the CEO, Jason Largent, and has over 35 years of experience in global network projects and critical systems and facility engineering, environmental, operational, and maintenance, and more. You can learn more at RocketCityFederalSolutions.com. It's RocketCityFederalSolutions.com. And the baseball game that is coming up at Bristol next summer, the Speedway Classic, they're calling it, at Bristol, Tennessee, has now got a title sponsor. It is presented by BuildSubmarines.com. Now, it's interesting that I say this during a segment that is sponsored by Rocket City Federal Solutions as well. It's BuildSubmarines.com is advertising everywhere, right, John? I mean, you can't watch a baseball game without seeing BuildSubmarines.com on the wall behind home plate and things like that. And I'm like, how many people are building submarines that they're advertising BuildSubmarines.com? Finally, I've gone to their website at BuildSubmarines.com. And you know what they do there?
What?
They friggin' build submarines.
That's all I do.
I mean, that's what they do. They build submarines. And their website is really, their mission. And it's kind of like Rocket City Federal Solutions. I don't think anybody that's listening to the show is going to all of a sudden, hire Rocket City Federal Solutions to save their part of the world necessarily. I mean, what they're doing, but it raises awareness of what this company is doing out there. And I think that's what's going on with this BuildSubmarines.com. They literally are a submarine building company. I don't know how many they have. They sell parts. If you need parts for your submarine, you go to BuildSubmarines.com. And the submarines that are on their website that they build are massive.
Huge.
I mean, they're huge. I mean, they're massive. So now that BuildSubmarines.com is sponsoring the Braves and the Reds at Bristol Motor Speedway, certainly it makes me want to go to BuildSubmarines.com and order a submarine, because that's what you need. This is a submarine.
Build Submarines has been pretty huge with NASCAR. I know they're involved with
RFK
everything. Racing. I know in the MLB you can find them. Still waiting to see if they're going to be in the NFL, but who knows? We'll wait and see.
It's nuts. Build Submarine. I mean, it's not nuts. I mean, it's great that they have that mindset of awareness. I think it's tremendous. All right, let's go to the lines. We start with Jason. I don't think it's I don't think it's Jason Largent, but it's Jason. Jason, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, yeah. I'm doing good. Alias Redneck Romeo.
Oh, it's Redneck Romeo. Why didn't you just tell him it was Redneck Romeo?
He's Jason on my show.
I don't think he knew.
Oh, this is Redneck Romeo on my show. I mean, I got a million Jasons that call the show, but now you only got one Redneck Romeo that calls the show. All right, Romeo, what's going on?
Yeah. Oh, not much. Hey, I have got this 4 teams. Damn.
All right, who do you got? Non-SEC, non-Big Ten.
I'm going to Tim Brando you. Coastal Carolina.
Coastal, all right.
Tulane.
You got 2 group of 5s in there? So you got 2 group of 5s making the tournament. Okay, who else you got?
Hey, let's go wild and let's pick Stanford.
You're out of your mind. Stanford or Samford? Stanford?
Stanford.
All right.
S-T-A-N-F-O-R-D.
All right. Give me your last one that's not going to make it. Okay.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. I think you'll go 1 for 4 with those, but all right, we got you in.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Romeo. Look, he may be the Redneck Romeo, but Coastal, Tulane, and Stanford are not making the playoff.
Goodness me.
I'm just going to go out on a limb right now. I thought he was giving me 4 teams that definitely will not make the playoff. I thought that's where he was going with it. There's no way that Coastal and Tulane are getting in. They can't both go. You can't. There's not going to be 2 group of 5s.
Which one do you think has the better chance, though?
I'll say Tulane.
Yeah, I'd say Tulane.
I'll say Tulane out of those. Out of those 2, I'd say Tulane. I think Tulane has got a live shot at it with John Summerall in there. You know, he comes over from Troy. He's a Grissom guy. He comes over from Troy, and he did tremendous things for Troy. But they have lost a lot. They lost their stud quarterback. They lost a lot of parts off of their offense. But I believe in John Summerall. So I think that they have a shot. I think Boise State, Memphis, maybe Liberty. You know, those are the ones that I'm looking more at. Grumpy is a big fan of the group of 5. He's up next. Grumpy, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. Yeah, I was going to go with Tulane. And you just told me they lost their quarterback. I don't know anything about Tulane, but I'll stick with Tulane for the sake of saving airtime. And then Notre Dame and I guess Florida State. And then for the sake of airtime, help me out with another team here.
Well, you got to have somebody from the Big 12. You got to have somebody from the Big 12, Okie State, TCU, Utah. Utah or Okie State. Utah or Okie State are the chalk.
I go Utah.
It's one or the other.
All right, I'll go Utah. And, Dan's call today was good because it was full of sports stuff. He didn't sleep much last night, but it was full of good sports stuff. And I think picking Oregon State was a good pick because I think Oregon State and Oklahoma State are playing the Mountain West schedule.
Not Oklahoma State, Oregon State, and Washington State.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Washington State.
Yeah. A lot of
they're in the Mountain West. I don't know what their path in is. I'll be totally honest with you. That's something that I haven't been really. I haven't checked on enough. John, maybe you could check on that. Washington State, because they're still technically the Pac-12. They're a 2 team, but they're not. Yeah. They don't get an automatic qualifier. Washington State and Oregon State, they can't win the WAC or the Mountain West. They can't win.
Yeah, they gave them all their in-conference stuff is Mountain West. And then, of course, they've got to play their rivals. Or Oregon State will play Oregon, and Washington State will play Washington. But so a lot of San Diego State and stuff like that's going to get played by those teams. But
they're not playing for playing teams from there. Like Notre Dame plays the ACC. They're just playing teams for scheduling purposes, but they're not going to be in the Mountain West championship game.
Right. They're not playing for those big, gaudy, diamond-filled rings that we're playing for.
No, not like in the DFL. No, not
those. They're not getting those.
They're not playing for them. So are you chiseling away at the mold now? Are you getting ready to pour gold soon, or the mold for these new rings?
Those are big rings. I've still got 3 of the elves in the mine, getting silver out. Should have enough to meld them down and by tomorrow. But the rings will be ready. The rings will be ready.
They'll be ready. The rings will be ready. I know Captain Cool's getting one of them because he won our league, and I don't know who won the other league. I need some help from you guys. Who won the other DFL league? I have forgotten who won the other league in the DFL. So Smokey Mike, somebody that was involved in that deal, you need to let me know if you know who won the other league.
And then somebody needs to bring some hand trucks or a dolly, whatever you want to call them, to get those things out of there. They're huge. Talk to you later, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you. By the way, for those of you that don't know and didn't hear the message or didn't hear the announcement on Wednesday, this year's DFL live draft is August 27th. That's the night before the JYB's birthday, by the way, where she'll turn 41. Yeah. The draft will be at Carrabba's Italian Grill, which means we'll be indoors in a special room. We're going to be in a room, a private room, indoors under air conditioning. All right, so that's where the draft will be. There will be a live broadcast of the drive going on during the draft, and we will be there at 5:30. We hope to get drafting. We'll get everybody in their teams or in their leagues, and then we'll be drafting by 6 o'clock. And we'll have our live draft on August 27th of this year's DFL, and we'll get that done right there at Carrabba's Italian Grill. All right, August 27th, 5:30 at night is when you need to be there. All right, we'll get a break in. When we come back, we're going just over the bridge from where I am sitting right now. We're going just over the Caloosahatchee River to Cape Coral, where Paulie from the Cape is on. We'll have that next. It's the Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Team USA men's basketball will play for the gold after rallying to beat Serbia on Thursday, 95-91. The final, the U.S. surged back from a 17-point deficit. LeBron James had a triple-double with 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. Team USA will take on France this Saturday in a rematch of the 2021 Olympic final. France defeated Germany 73-69 to advance to the gold medal game. The U.S. favored by 16.5 against France. Over under 176.5. France plus 820 on the money line. The U.S. minus 1,600. Serbia is favored by 2.5. Germany plus 120 on the money line. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? My phone rings in my office.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're the ones who take your call.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Rocket City Federal Solutions, LLC is committed to streamlining engineering solutions for all aspects of installations and facilities, construction, and management worldwide with expertise and precision. These guys are great Americans, helping to keep us safe everywhere from right here in the Tennessee Valley. The team at Rocket City Federal Solutions is headed by CEO Jason Larson, and they have over 35 years combined experience handling projects all over the world. Learn more at RocketCityFederalSolutions.com. That's RocketCityFederalSolutions.com.
Embark on a flavorful journey at the Brewers Cooperative. Located within the vibrant community hub of Stovehouse in Huntsville, our brewery isn't just about crafting exceptional beers. It's a destination where culinary delights and local brews harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, our diverse menu has something to please every palate. With a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, we invite you to savor the unique flavors of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative. Call 256-678-7036. The Brewers Cooperative.
This segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center, where thousands of area residents have received world-class care from the Valley's most trusted and experienced group of orthopedic surgeons and medical specialists. TLC services the Huntsville Havoc, Alabama A&M Bulldogs, and most of the high schools in the region, with 13 locations throughout the Tennessee Valley, including Fayetteville, Tennessee, for those of you listening in Tennessee on 106.9. If you have orthopedic problems and are considering professional care, TLC is the only logical choice, whether you have a work-related injury or got sidelined playing the sport you love or got hurt moving boxes that you probably shouldn't be moving. TOC is the answer for you. I think you'll agree. The Orthopedic Center will keep you in the game. John, the music has been very good today. That's a good job by you on the Football Friday music today.
Thank you. Thank you. Whenever I know where all of these little things are, I can do a decent job. I can do a decent job.
You found the rotator. Is what you did. Is what you're saying.
Last, you just continue on.
So this is interesting. I'm broadcasting from not too far from the shores of the Caloosahatchee River, and I'm sending the signal back to Huntsville, Alabama, to our mothership, where it is then from there being sent also up to Tennessee and Franklin County at ESPN Winchester, and broadcast all over North Alabama. And our next caller, is right across the river from me in Cape Coral. And he made his call to Alabama, and now they're sending it from Alabama back to me in Florida across the river from Paulie, who could have just called me directly maybe. I don't know.
The whole triangle.
Paulie in the Cape is up. Paulie, welcome to the show. How are you?
Welcome, Tom. My first question with the submarine issue, what's the upcharge for having it fully armed? Because I got a ride to Barranquilla, Colombia, if I can get my hands on a fully armed submarine.
Well, yeah, that would be the thing. I mean, who's buying the submarines? Who are their clients? Aren't their clients like the U.S. government? And then who else? Who else buys a submarine? You know what I mean? It's like
I just want to know how much one costs fully armed. A couple torpedoes. Put a 50 caliber on top when you break the surface.
So you want a 50 cal? All right, I'm taking your order for buildsubmarines.com. So you want a couple of 50 cals on there? You want it fully armed? How
at least 4
much?
Torpedoes. At least 4, minimum 4.
Does 4 torpedoes? How much does a full size?
Is there the engine? Are you an electric pneumatic engine that doesn't make a lot of noise, or is it the standard diesel engine?
I'm going to say it is. I'm going to say that they use nuclear power. I don't think they're diesel. I don't think you got to pull up to the pumps and get diesel.
Fill that up?
Yeah, I think it's going to be all right. All right. So the cost of your submarine, the way you want it, this is, by the way, legit. This is from the website. The cost of your submarine for fully loaded nuclear sub power, full size sub, okay, depending on the bells and whistles, is between $2.8 billion with a B and $5.5 billion. So I guess you take 2. I guess if you're buildsubmarines.com, I guess it makes sense to do all this advertising because if you sell one submarine, a low-end entry-level submarine, you know what I mean, like the mini sub, and it's $2.8 billion for that sub, you made your money back. It's worth it.
Can I put it on the layaway plan too? Is there a layaway plan option?
We take payments. We do take payments. We take MasterCard. We take MasterCard and Visa as well. If you want to put it on your Visa card, do not take American Express. Their fees are too high.
That's how I lost my fiance. I said, "Hey, can I get this on the layaway plan?" And never heard from her.
No. So, yes, exactly. All
right. My three teams that are non-big conference, right? You're looking for three teams that will make the playoffs.
They can be. Yeah, they can't be from the Big Ten or the SEC. But
make sure you write these.
You got to have an ACC team, a Big 12 team, and a Group of 5 team, and then if anybody else.
Oh, I have to pick from them? I thought you said no one from those. Okay.
No one just from the SEC or Big Ten. Because last week we did the Big Ten. The week before we did the SEC. So now we're like the rest of the country. But you're going to have an ACC team in there, and you're going to have a big.
Okay, I'll take Clemson in the ACC.
Got to have either like Clemson or Florida State in there or Miami. Okay, you got to have somebody from the Big 12. Okay, Clemson.
Okay, Big 12 would be. Hold on. Big 12.
And you can have more than one from the ACC. I mean, you could have Clemson and Florida State if you think. Yeah.
No, it'll be only one.
Okay.
Okay, Big 12 would be. Are the Ducks in the Big 12?
No, the Ducks are in the Big 10. Remember, Utah is now in the Big 12.
All right, then give me Utah.
Utah. Now you got to have a Group of 5 champion. Somebody from the Group of 5 has to go.
Yeah, I'm going with Liberty.
All right, Liberty is a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody else going to make it from outside, like Notre Dame and Independent or anybody like that?
The hell with that team until they join a conference. I'm done with that.
Okay.
You'll see it this year.
Right.
You'll see this. They're going to be like, well, they beat Jerkwater State. They have to be in the big playoffs. No, they don't have to be in there. You need to join a conference. And the other one is the Miami Redhawks.
So you're taking 2 teams from the Group of 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Miami of Ohio. Okay.
Yeah, the Redhawks.
All right, we got you in.
No Notre Dame. No Notre Dame.
No Notre Dame. Okay, Liberty, Miami of Ohio. Yeah, okay.
You see, they're going to be like, they'll hopscotch a team that should be in there, but because they're Notre Dame and they beat Jerkwater State, oh no, and what's the matter you on the road? They beat those 2 powerhouse teams by a field goal, and then they're going to hopscotch a strong, like for example, Appalachian State, Liberty, Miami.
Notre Dame would beat the brakes off of those people.
I can care
that you just
less.
mentioned.
The point is that I can care less. They've got to be in a conference. This independent stuff has got to go.
Yeah.
Look who's left in independent league. Them and only 2 other scrub teams.
Yeah, there's only 3 teams that are independents, but Notre Dame doesn't care. Notre Dame plays a tough schedule. I mean, come on. They play USC.
What's their schedule? Before you let me go, what's their tough schedule? Jerkwater State? Is it one?
No Jerkwater State on there. They don't have. They do have Georgia Tech on there.
Sam Houston, and the Citadel. Is that one of them?
They open with Texas A&M.
Yay.
What about Texas A&M? We don't count them.
They're going to kill them. Texas. They should beat them. They should beat them.
Well, if they do, then they're definitely not a playoff team. If Texas A&M beats Notre Dame, then they won't be a playoff team. They played Louisville.
Yeah, there's a loss. Louisville can beat them.
I don't have their schedule open. I'm just going off the top of my head. They play Stanford. They always play Stanford. They'll beat Stanford.
Yeah.
Stanford's not very good this year.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech. Yeah. I'll get their whole schedule. They play Virginia.
Yeah, Florida State.
I'm pretty sure they don't have Jerkwater.
Army
I don't think
and
they have.
Navy. They're playing Army and
I don't
Navy
think they have,
as well.
Yeah, but they don't have JSU this year. Army and Navy. They got to take on the Army and the Navy, and that means they're going to play against the submarines. Is that game brought to us by BuildSubmarines.com? I don't know. All right. It's a good job by you.
Guess what? Is DJ Grizzy Grizz an Atlanta Falcon fan?
He is a big Falcons fan. Yes, he is.
Well, guess what? I'm going to be on the field today to watch the Dolphins beat up on the Falcons. Yay!
Could happen. That game will be heard right here on the on our flagship station at WZZN.
I'll be
All right, man.
field seat.
All right, Paulie. Good job by you, man. All right, let me get one more in. Let me get Keith, the Michigan fan, in here. Keith is not going to pick two teams from the group of 5 to go to the playoffs.
Well, Keith,
they're lucky they're getting one, but he's not going to pick 2.
Keith might get a little upset with me because I accidentally dropped him just then. Whenever I dropped.
Oh, you cut Keith off?
I cut Keith. Hit a break, and you can come back to him.
All right, Keith, call back in, and we'll try and get you in before the end of the show. We'll get a break, come back, and wrap it up next. It's the Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Looking for your next adventure to be out of this world but don't have enough money to buy a spaceship and leave orbit? Well, look no further than Divergent's VR theme park off of Governor's Drive Southwest in Huntsville, Alabama. Are zombies more your style? How about driving your favorite cars on the world's fastest track? Or maybe a gorilla game that has you climbing up tall trees to escape other gorillas? Wait, that's actually a thing? Huh. Would you look at that? For whatever adventure you can dream of, call 256-203-4128 to get your VR adventure started now.
Our customers trust us not only to find the right hardware, but to advise them on the technology that makes them more efficient.
My Next Level team researches and discovers real solutions. Check-in software, HR, digital signature, and workflow software. It saves you money immediately. We hold your hand and stay with you through the transition.
We're taking our customers to the next level in business process automation.
Hello, listeners. I want to tell you a little bit about Minuteman Press and what we have to offer our community. We specialize in paper printing and can help from designing your piece to the finished product. We print media guides for many of the athletic departments at high schools and universities around the area. We typically purchase sponsorships from these schools as well to try and help them with their fundraising. Once we have reached our new normal, we also print all types of marketing materials for you to hand out either in person, via mail, or at various trade shows and events. At Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo.
I want that money!
You know, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Two-minute warning is brought to you by Minuteman Press. For all your printing and promotional needs, it's Minuteman Press. They'll be making up the JYD T-shirts for you. I use Minuteman Press for things at our church as well. It's Minuteman Press. Jonathan Dunwoody and his team taking care of all of you guys. John, I got a friend request from Jennifer Lopez. I'm going to say it's not really Jennifer Lopez.
Ain't no way.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that that's one of them spoof ones. All right? No, I don't think Jennifer Lopez is friend requesting me. Okay, I'm just going to say that right now.
You got to take
that it's not Jennifer Lopez.
At least take a screenshot of it and then not friend her because you know you're a better celebrity, I would say, than Jennifer Lopez.
I already deleted her. I deleted Jennifer Lopez's friend request. By the way, did Keith, the Michigan fan, come back or no?
No, he didn't. I even tried to call him
I'm sorry, Keith. This is nothing personal. I can promise you, Keith. This is just incompetence on the part of the producer.
Look, I only have one. I only get one. All right.
You screw up
and
once
Keith,
a day.
Keith
That's
was
it.
that one. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no more than once a day. You're screwing up. That's for sure. Did you know that you can buy a personal submarine? It's okay for you. This is a thing now. People who rich people who used to buy yachts are now buying submarines instead of yachts. It's become a thing for buying a personal submarine. Personal submarines are capable of attaining an impressive depth rating of up to 2,300 meters. Do you know how deep 2,300 meters is?
Is it deep
No,
enough
I don't either.
to get to the
It's
Titanic?
like about two. No, I think 2,300. Let me see. 2,300 meters to feet.
All I know is I'm spending billions of dollars to get an actual submarine that can go and see the Titanic.
No, well, I don't think you need this submarine, but that's what people are doing. People who used to buy yacht. There's rich people who buy yachts, right? Now the thing is they're buying submarines, and the personal submarine will go 2,300 meters under the sea, which is 7,545 feet.
Wow!
At 7,500 feet, there's not going to be there. I don't think there's a lot of plant life. In fact, where is it that it's 7,500 feet deep? Is the ocean 7,500 feet deep?
It gets
How
there.
far out do you got to go to get to 7,500 feet deep? I mean, I've been out to like 7,000 feet deep, but 7,545 feet deep.
Probably got to go out 20,000 meters. So, just think about the
man.
gas that you're using for that trip.
Why are you buying a submarine? How stupid would it be to buy a submarine? I mean, really.
I don't know who would buy any submarine with that whole Titanic thing that happened just at the beginning of the year, but
these are luxury submarines, by the way, that people are buying. Let's see. Some submarines are used for scientific use. Others are purchased to provide guests with a luxury underwater experience in enhanced underwater exploration in comfort and in support of citizen science. If I was in a submarine, I'd want to open a window and throw a line out. You know what I mean? I would do like trolling from the submarine.
Ain't no way.
It's ridiculous. Stop buying submarines, people. That's dumb.
Cost about as much to create a football stadium in Brooks Park.
$2.2 billion. Entry-level submarine. All right, that's going to do it. We'll be back on Reaction Monday. Until then, the Paul Feinbaum Show is next. I'm Thom Abraham. Have a great weekend, everybody.